Good morning. Today we are going to be doing an asynchronous activity for first period for Texas history. So I'm going to walk you through the assignments for today and then you can go ahead and get busy working on them. If you go to Canvas and we go to coursework, Unit 2, week of the 12th, and you look at Wednesday, you will notice that we first have our warm-up. So our warm-up for today, you can click on the slideshow, and this will take you to the warm-up for Wednesday. There's actually 2 of these that you're going to do for today. So you will fill out the Gone to Texas information. So you need to write this information on your actual warm-up page that you started yesterday in class. And this is called Gone to Texas. So many Anglo-Americans, when they would leave the United States and go to Texas, they would say they are gone to Texas, meaning that they are moving to Texas. And we abbreviate that with GTT, Gone to Texas. The second part of the warm-up for today is why to come to Texas. So what were the incentives, or we also call these the pull factors. So the pull factors is what is enticing or what is advertised about why people would want to move to a new area. So as you can see here, there was good farmland and it was extremely cheap. It was only 12.5 cents an acre. So very, very cheap land, and there was a lot of it. This second bullet point tells you how many acres they could receive. So depending on how big your family was, the more acreage you received. The first to come to select the very best land. So it's kind of like first come, first serve. So they could come and pick out the best land the sooner they signed up to move. Many of them wanted to join their relatives and friends for a new start, adventure. It was a good place to raise a family, again, with cheap land, and many of them wanted to create a positive and productive homestead and farm and use farming techniques for their economic gain. There was also some policies about the types of people that could come. So they did not want people of bad behavior or criminals or anything like that. So this quote here says, no drunkards, no gambler, no profane swear, no idler would be allowed in the colony. So again, they want people of good, wholesome, moral character to move to Texas. Okay, so make sure that you have this written copied down on your warm-up template that you started yesterday in class. Okay, so if we go back and look at our assignment for today, we're going to be doing 2 different things. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to compare the 3 major types of settlements and in Texas. And so your I can statement is, it says, I can compare and contrast the Mexican and Anglo settlements in Texas. So we're going to mainly look at Mexican and Anglo, but we also know a lot about the Spanish settlement when it came to the mission system. So that's really the third type. So if you go ahead and open up this assignment, it says view the 3 types of settlements in Texas chart. Annotate the differences between the 3 settlements. What did you find significant for each one? Using your knowledge, compare and contrast the Mexican and Anglo settlements by answering the questions on page 2. There are 3, this is the chart and questions. This needs to go in Unit 2 notes. So if you make a copy and move this to Unit 2 notes, you will see here that this first page is very just informational. It talks about the Spanish settlement, remember, with the mission system. So it talks about the missions, presidios, towns, and ranchos, which we have talked about and reviewed. The Mexican settlement was primarily about the impresario system. So what is an impresario? Who were they? We're going to talk about Stephen F. Austin's Old 300, which were the first 300 families to move to Texas and live in Austin's colony. Mexican settlement was based on agriculture, so farming for the Anglos and then ranching for the Tejanos. So the Tejanos again are the people that live in Texas of Spanish descent. And then if you go down to the Anglo settlement, again, some more just basic information about what that was like. So they used the Mexican impresario system. So they went to the Mexican government and asked for permission to help settle Texas and bring more families to Texas. So they brought about their farming lifestyle and what it was like to work on plantation and the plantation economy that thrived because of the climate and the fertile soil. And it was powered primarily by the slave population. So that we will talk more about that as we get into the economy of Texas a little bit later on in our units. Many of the towns grew and they formed to support the agricultural economy and its population. Primary cash crop was cotton and sugar in Mexican Texas. And as you can see here, it talks a little bit about Native Americans and what their life was like on the frontier during the Anglo settlement. This paper right here is crucial, guys, for your upcoming test that you have next Tuesday. So keep this as a handy tool for you to review when it comes to that test. You have to know about the different types of settlements between Spanish is the mission, Mexican is the impresario system, and then the Anglo would be the Mexican impresario system. Okay, so after you have compared these three, what do you notice about them? What is interesting? What is something very different? You can make notes out here in the margin. You can underline, highlight. This paper is for you. Okay, so make some notes. And then using the document, I want you to answer these these 6 questions about the Mexican and the Anglos. So again, these 2 sections, really what you're going to be looking at for Mexican and Anglo, and just how their lives were different and how their settlement was different, but also how it was somewhat similar, because it is very, very similar to one another. Okay. When you finish that, we are going to move into the next activity for today. And that activity is your progress monitoring for your missions quiz. Notice this is due by midnight on the 16th, which is on Friday. So that will be due by midnight on Friday. There is another video that I'm going to post down here on the actual progress monitoring for the missions quiz that you will need to watch, and it takes you step by step about how to progress monitor your quiz that you have already taken from last week. Okay. Homework for next class is make sure you do that progress monitoring for the quiz. Work on your study guide. It's due on Friday. Okay, your test is next Tuesday. Study guide is due Friday. And also work on your impresario map. That's due next Tuesday as well. So you have quite a bit of things you can be working on after you finish both of these assignments for today. If you have any questions, you can come to Legend Time. I will be here for Legend Time today or after school tutorials. And I can answer any questions you have at that time. You can also email me and I will get back to you as soon as I can. Y'all have a good day. Bye.